In 1965, I was drafted into the U.S. Army. I went to Fort Knox, Kentucky. I was from Ohio, and that was the closest base where you would do basic training. And for the most part, nothing scary about it. There's nothing dangerous about it, except for one thing in my imagination was grenade practice, actually practicing to throw live grenades. And so the Army's kind of clever. In those days, they would take you late in the evening and they would demonstrate what it looked like. It was much more dramatic at night because not only would you get the sound of the grenades, but you'd get the flash. And then because the sergeant who was demonstrating, he said, if you get this right, you get a large bang. And he says, if you get it wrong, you become hamburger. So you pull the pin out, and then you release and you throw it like a football. And it makes a tremendous sound when it goes off. And I'm sure there's ear injuries because nobody wore earplugs back then to do it. But I remember really thinking it through that night. And, and of course, you don't dream about throwing it right. You dream about throwing it wrong. So I was really nervous by the time I got to grenade practice in the morning. And the sergeant, first sergeant who was in charge, he says, now right off the bat, I want to know how many of you are scared? And I was the only one who put up my hand because it's not really manly for men to be scared, but I was, I was really scared. And he says, now Sullivan's the only one I trust here because the rest of you are scared and you're not telling the truth about it. And I'd rather have somebody scared and tell the truth about it. I can trust Sullivan. I can't trust the rest of you. And because I trust him, he's going to be the first person to actually go down in the pit and throw a grenade. And, and I went down and with the help of the instructor down there, I threw it. And, if you just do what you're told and you follow through, then there's no problem with it. And then when we got back, everybody had finished. The first sergeant said, now he says, I'm going to talk to you about fear. He says, fear is wetting your pants. He says, and then courage is doing what you're supposed to do with wet pants. And I always remember that courage is never comfortable. I mean, it's depicted in movies and it's often depicted in novels as a person feeling, totally ready to do it. That isn't courage, that's confidence. The difference between courage and confidence is that confidence feels good. What courage is doing what you're supposed to do when you don't have the confidence. And as I have spent the larger part of my life working with entrepreneurs, I begin to realize that fundamentally, the only problem that actually stops entrepreneurs from moving forward in any area of their life is the lack of courage. And they don't move forward because they don't want to move forward until they're confident. But in fact, you don't get the confidence until you've actually earned the confidence by going through a period of courage. But I always remember, whenever I'm in an entrepreneurial situation, I remind myself, and I'm not moving forward because I'm insisting that I've got to feel better. I always remind myself of grenade practice. And I always remember the first sergeant. And fortunately, my Army career never took me near any scary situation. But that one morning, the evening before, thinking through the night, and that next morning, has really stayed with me as a major truth in life, a major piece of wisdom. And so right now you're watching this and there are situations that you're holding up on and you don't feel that you can move forward to them. And I'd like you just to think of the grenade story and recognize it's not necessary that you feel right, that you feel confident before you move forward. All you have to do is commit yourself to it and then be willing to go through a period of courage. And you'll do it right, you'll get the right result, and you won't end up as hamburger.